the tools and the potential, like, there's a little bit of a stigma of danger around working with tools for woodworking. And there is a certain amount of like having your safety awareness about you. There's huge resources out there right now, like the YouTube channels that can show you the basics. There's places like Woodcraft. Woodcraft is a store that we have here, at least local, and I know there's other locations around the country. So if you have a Woodcraft store, they have shops that you can opt into. They're extremely knowledgeable, and they'll take the time to talk to you about what project you might be wanting to work on and different tools and options. So they're a great resource if you have one in your area. And if not, hit YouTube. Go to YouTube. There's a few podcasts on woodworking. Any resource you can kind of get your hands on and just get some wood. Go to Home Depot. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be working with fine wood products and making sure you find that Brazilian, whatever exotic wood it is that you want. You can start with pine. Just get whatever you can get your hands on and start playing around with it. And if it's speaking to you, then there's a purpose for you to be there. So.
All right. And you said, what was it, BeccaDesigns.com?
So it's BeccaJaneDesigns.com.
And that's Becca with a K?
Yeah, Beka. I know I spell it kind of weird.
With the H too, right?
Not
on the website.
When I do Becca. Just my full Rebekah has the H. So, yeah, it's kind of confusing. But I personally think it looks better when it's just Beka. And that's why my decision is to do that.
And they can connect with you on Instagram too?
Yep, it's that same Becca Jane Design handle on Instagram too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, we've reached that magic question. We're at the end. Oh.
Yeah.
And here it is. Why does art matter?
I think that art matters because it opens up a part of your soul that some of the more practical and mundane factors of life don't. When it comes down to that feeling you see when you see a piece of art or experience a piece of music or watch a film that just is on a different level, it really touches a part of your soul that doesn't see that experience often. And it creates this just positive energy and vibe, and that can transfer beyond just that interaction with that piece of art. You experience even a really good meal that is just beautiful and delicious, and that experience of the senses, you'll still look back at that memory months and years later. There's a reason why we have such strong connections around those senses, and art, when it's done right and done well, can really trigger those senses on a really high, powerful level. And I think that's what the beauty of life is. If we don't have art and don't have those memories and don't have those experiences, then it's pretty mundane. What's the point of all of this? Like, the more beauty you can introduce into the world, just the more joy you can spread, and the higher we can elevate everybody.
Spoken like a true artiste.
That's nice.
Awesome deal.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Rebekah. We'll make sure everybody checks out the show notes and connects with you, and good luck on your move.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a bit of a stressful time, but we're excited to see the other side of this and have a little bit of a clean start in a new place. So
definitely. Well, thank you for making the time to be on The Artist Matters, and wish you all the best in your future woodworking success.
All right, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for making time for me as well, and I can't wait to maybe connect with some people and maybe get somebody started into woodworking that didn't think that it was an option for them. I'm definitely here as a resource for that.
Awesome. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
It was a great pleasure to have Rebekah on the show finally. And she offered such great insights and really good sage advice about pursuing anything creative. What speaks to you. You have to go through the process to feel that connection to creativity. And I can attest to that. When you're in that creative mode, it's kind of hard to stop. Of course, when you're really in a serious flow, you got to channel that stuff and get it out, whether it's writing, woodworking, painting, drawing, acting, singing. There is really something special about being in that little spot of creativity. And she even says, start it, but work it through the end. Keep going through it. And I have to say that's so true, because when I was writing my script for Dead Planet, there was a point at which in the story I had two characters that were love interests, and it just was not working. Now I changed the dynamic to making the characters brother and sister. There's obviously no romance. I'm not that creepy. But still the tension was now shifted because they have this familial connection, and they still could have this tension about what's, tearing them apart, where they have to make all these decisions. And I think one character I kept alive way too long, and I said, I need to kill him earlier. And it's just working through that. It's like, what do I do? I don't know. This scene isn't working. I just got to keep typing. Or sometimes you just have to walk away and just take a moment. But you got to see it through. And really, there's nothing like finishing that piece and saying, wow, this is it. I finished a script. I finished a screenplay. I finished this drawing. There was one I was working on for years, and I finally finished it a few years back. And it's good. Nice sense of accomplishment. And, of course, why art matters, because it opens up a part of your soul that the mundane stuff can't. I love that. And also how memories get triggered by a piece of art. That's maybe something you did, of course, obviously. If it's something that you created as a kid. Man, I look at some of my pieces, and I still am baffled that I actually drew all these things. I mean, I'm more partial to drawing superheroes than anything of my own design. But I still made stories. I don't think I added words in many of my stories, but you could see there's a linear storyline going on from beginning to end, and I created this whole little action piece with a little bit of this, a little bit of that in there, and it was finished, and there it is. Like, man, I did all that. Wow. And it's nice to see it and reconnect with it from time to time. Yeah, I think a few years back I was just feeling this creative drought. And I went through all of my drawings, mostly the superheroes, but I had superheroes that were earthbound, some in space. It was just nice to see all that, all the things I created, and it was a lot. And it gave me a little boost. Maybe it was a little spark to get me on the path to doing this podcast that I didn't even know. And very recently, I decided to bust out the colored pencils. I do prefer the colored pencils over all other coloring mediums. It's just so much fun to work with those pencils. And just had some of my own Halloween pieces of art that I drew and never colored them in, and said, let me add some color to them and hang them up. It's fun. Got to connect with it. All right. Well, thank you once again for being on the show, Rebekah. Remember, connect with her. We'll have all of her links set up on the artistreallymatters.com on her posting. And thank you, one and all, for checking us out. And remember, we are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, so many more, even on YouTube. So check us out, and I'll be bringing more to you ASAP. Got to do it. Getting some stuff lined up. So stay tuned and check out the artistreallymatters.com. If you're any artist interested in being on the show, you can write to me at artistmatters1@gmail.com, and we'll get you on the show. Thanks again for listening to The Artist Matters. We'll see you real soon, and no matter where you go, let your creativity flow.